Hi, my name is Brooke Rollerson. I'm here on behalf of the Floral Greens Farmers of Florida in a beautiful leatherleaf canopy in the state of Florida where a lot of our Florida foliages are grown. Actually, right here in Florida is the fern capital of the world. And so a lot of people, when I mention that, they don't really know that. So we actually ship out a lot of greenery right here in the state of Florida, and it makes it a perfect place for me to show you a lot of things that I do in my shop, being a Florida shop, and because our farmers ship all over the world, you can actually get that greenery shipped to you as well. Being that Valentine's Day is right around the corner, I'm going to show you a really quick way to kind of expedite an arrangement that somebody maybe comes in the door and you're not prepared and you're trying to make arrangements and it's just kind of crazy. We all know as florists, Valentine's Day is a very, very busy time. So I wanted to do a hand-tied bouquet and show you all the different greenery that we use and how beautiful it can be just doing very quickly a nice little spiral hand-tied that you can either pop into the vase, but more than anything you can do right there in front of the customer, which actually is just beautiful. They really appreciate the skill, and as long as you do it correctly, it's a really beautiful arrangement. So I'm going to start with this with a beautiful hand-tied bouquet. So here I have two different types of pittosporum, which is also grown here in the state of Florida. I have the dark green pit, where you can see that the leaves are really just solid dark green. And then I also have the variegated pittosporum, where you can see that the leaves have a variegation on the tips. I like using both of them, and you can mix them up in your bouquet. But what I start with is I strip all of the greenery that's going to be under the vase line off of the stems, so I have no foliages below the stem level, and I actually start with spiraling the greenery. So I strip the greenery off, and then I'm going to place at an angle, and if you can see here, I place at an angle and I keep the same angle all the way around. So no matter what I place, next is going to be at the same angle, working around that bouquet. Now, when I place the next piece of greenery, I'm going to start working in some of my flowers. I'm working with stock today, which is also Matiola. And I'm going to place a few of those, and then I'm going to work in another piece of greenery. So I have the Carolina Sapphire, also grown here in the state of Florida. I love using this. It's an evergreen, and I like using it year-round. I think it's absolutely beautiful to use evergreens year-round. They are very hardy. They last a very long time, just like our other greenery does. But with this one, it's kind of got a gray-blue color to it. So I think it's great with the contrast against the dark green foliages. Then I'm going to work in our aspidistra, and if you've seen the other videos that we have, you can see how I do this technique where I take the aspidistra and then I pierce it, and that kind of gives me a little bit of space to incorporate into the bouquet. Again, I'm placing this at a 90-degree angle and then turning the bouquet. Very easy. Then I'm going to work in some of the leatherleaf. Now, leatherleaf is a really beautiful fern that you can see right here is grown all different shades of green. I love how we're standing here and all the tips and the ferns are just delicately dancing across this canopy. It's a gorgeous thing to be in the middle of. So the leatherleaf, if I place this in here, I want to make sure that all the stems are very clean. They're very easy to place into my bouquet. All the preparation that you do ahead of time is worth the time, because then as you are going, you don't have to keep cleaning or doing something that's going to prevent you from finishing that bouquet. Again, as I do this, you can see spiraling it. I'm going to add the leatherleaf in here, and I really want those tips to come out. A lot of times people will pull the leatherleaf down, which damages a lot of the leaves, and it doesn't really do justice to that. So I want to make sure that that is pulled up and that you get ultimate value out of that greenery. So if I do the bouquet like this, you can kind of see a little bit better, keeping everything at an angle. I'm going to incorporate some of the Queen Anne's lace because obviously spring's coming up, and I think Queen Anne's lace is really beautiful when it kind of dances across the bouquet. I have a lot of the tree fern here, this beautiful tree fern that's very light, airy. For some reason, that's just one of the things that rings to me when we make bouquets, especially for the spring, when we have beautiful, light, airy foliages that kind of dance across your bouquet. I think the movement of it is really nice too. So incorporate things, that different textures and different things that actually will help your bouquet look interesting. More textures, more colors, everything is really beautiful when they're mixed together. I've got some irises, and of course, what screams spring more than an iris? And I'm just gonna incorporate a few of those. And with the irises, I just wanna group them together to kind of give them a stronger focal point in the bouquet, because I really wanna focus on the greenery. I think a lot of our customers really appreciate the greenery. They see the different types of greenery. It really kind of sets you apart. It's not just the basics. I'm going to put a few more of the Carolina Sapphire in here. And as you can see, I'm still twisting that. The Aspidistra. I'm also going to incorporate a few long wispy pieces of this beautiful Elaeagnus. Another one of my favorites actually, because the backside of it is a different color. So when the bouquet is moving, you really see the dark green foliage on the front side, but then when you twist it around, you see the lighter color, which is also something that kind of brings interest to your bouquets. A little bit more of the variegated Pittosporum. The tree fern. It's very important as you're making your hand-tied bouquet that you don't actually reverse the stems because it makes the binding point very wide. You always keep it the same angle, and if you can see here just how that works, it makes it very easy for me to hold, and then it's also easy for me to squeeze the stem and place it into a vase because it's not going to break anything. When I squeeze those together and it's spiraled correctly, it makes it really easy to place it and pull it out or put it in of any vase. A little bit more of the tree fern, and as you can see, I'm not pulling it tight. I'm actually leaving these stems really long so that you can really appreciate the stems. A little bit more of the Carolina Sapphire. And then finishing off on the outside with the Queen Anne's lace. And as my bouquet gets larger and larger, you can see it's a little bit more difficult to hold, but as long as the stem stays in a spiral fashion, then it's much easier than if you had the stems crossed at any point. A true spiral hand-tied bouquet, you can actually cut the stems even and stand it up on a table, and it should be able to stand by itself, which is also a great little show to do for your customers. They really like that and appreciate that because they can't do that themselves. And it kind of makes us more of the professional and have that skill that we can show off to our customers. And then one more piece of the Elaeagnus, just because I really like how that gives you a whole different look. The character of the stem kind of flies up a little bit more like that. So this is a very large hand-tied bouquet that you made in a few seconds, a few minutes. And then the more you do it, the actually faster you get. It's very impressive to do this in the front of your customers. So to finish this off, I'm going to take some bind wire. And this is one that I use a lot of. I actually double it up. And then make a loop and then wrap it around the stems. Doesn't have to be very tight. You can keep it kind of loose. You just want to be able to hold those stems in place so the customer, you either pass this bouquet off to them and they take this right out of your shop, or you can actually just slide it into a vase, maybe one that they just chose off the shelf. So here you have the hand-tied bouquet, and the stems, you can see that very balanced because it kind of sits right there in between two fingers, and all the stems spiral out. So that makes it very convenient for me to be able to hold without, you know, 2 or 3 people holding it for you. I'm going to cut all the stems off even so it's really easy to kind of see and hold closer to my body. And I would cut the stems at the length that the vase, whatever the customer has, either a vessel at home or one that they picked at your shop that you're going to actually place into. And there you have the hand-tied bouquet. So with this hand-tied bouquet, it's just a simple little hand tie that I can drop into a vessel, but I kind of like to add a little additional things that people aren't expecting, maybe some looped lily grass or something that's kind of unusual, little pieces of driftwood in there or something kind of cool and different. One of the tips that I love to show people is Elaeagnus. It's a great leaf to actually glue because it dries in its kind of like natural state. And of course you get that really beautiful backside to it. It's kind of like that gray color, a little bit of gold shimmering. It's just something that if you look up really close, you can see so many different colors in there. They really add a lot of interest to your designs. And so even with a hand-tied bouquet, it's something that we can think of adding something kind of cool and different. So with the Elaeagnus, what I do is just kind of pull the leaves off of the stem, and I'm just going to put a little bit of the Oasis glue on here. And where I can see like a lot of the dark green foliage, maybe the aspidistra right here, I'm just going to glue those leaves right onto that. Now it's important that you actually use a floral adhesive, nothing that's going to be damaging to the greenery. You know, some types of greenery don't hold really well with the glue. They don't. It burns the leaves. So you have to make sure that you're using the proper technique and the proper materials to be able to do this. So here I am just kind of gluing these Elaeagnus leaves, and I'm gluing them face down so you can see the really pretty other colors in here. And this just kind of gives this arrangement a different look, something really unusual. And as I pull the leaves off of the stem, I leave the stem on the leaf so it kind of has a little bit of a texture, kind of a characteristic to it that is kind of cool to add to the designs. Adding a little bit of the floral adhesive, and it just needs a little bit of that glue, and then just placing those leaves here and there, giving your design a completely different look, something that's very long lasting as well. So I'm going to take a few more of these leaves and place right up here on the leather leaf. And just a quick little addition here and there. And you can really see how that contrast between the back of the Elaeagnus leaves and the leather leaf and the pittosporum, the aspidistra, all of these beautiful Florida foliages just enhance the bouquet. And it's just a few flowers, but it's still so interesting and so different, and it's something that will actually really set you apart from other people in your town or your competitors, or even just to offer your clients something really extraordinary that will keep them coming back to get something really cool and different. I know in my shop I offer a lot of foliages. Being in the state of Florida and actually working with them, I've gotten used to them. I love using the different textures, and my customers have actually come to know me as the one that has all the different types of greenery and foliages, and they ask for it. They ask for actually some of the foliages they ask by name now. So it's really something to offer this kind of design to your customers, and I wish you all the luck for Valentine's Day, and go get them. I am in a beautiful fernery leather leaf hammock canopy. Hi, my name is Brooke Rollerson. This is crazy. Because all of a sudden they just came up here and really, your mechanics are really good at this. See? Like, you can just do anything.